Go ahead.
Okay. Our mission. Helping Parents Heal is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting bereaved parents to become shining light parents by providing support and resources to aid in the healing process. We go a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and evidence for the afterlife in a non-dogmatic way. Affiliate groups welcome everyone, regardless of religious or non-religious background, and allow for open dialogue. Attendance today is voluntary, and we are here for the benefit of learning from and sharing with other parents whose child has passed away. It is understood that our discussions are intended to be confidential and not designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers to allow parents to be informed about many possible ways to heal, to connect with their children, and to learn about the afterlife. The views expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect those of Helping Parents Heal, and we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Irene. And I'm going to go ahead and read Mary's bio. And Mary Bertun has many years of experience as a mom, a teacher, and instructional designer. But none of this prepared her for the death of her 19-year-old Marine son, Chaz Bertun, in 2012. Mary credits Helping Parents Heal with starting her healing journey and now serves as an affiliate leader for the Helping Parents Heal Madison, Wisconsin online group. In the 21-day doorway across the veil, Mary and Chaz share what they've learned about how to converse with each other across realms. Mary is a graduate of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and a North Carolina fellow, and I just have to say, yay, Tar Heels. I went undergrad and grad school at UNC as well, and my daughter is now getting a PhD in the School of Public Health, so yay. Anyway, so please, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mary Bertun.
So thank you. First, I wanted to say a big thank you to Elizabeth and to Irene for having me here tonight. It is just quite an honor to be here, and I'm really excited. I'm going to start what I'm going to talk about with the book and the course tonight. I'm going to start with two things, though, and they're requests for all of you. So I hope you'll bear with me while I make those two requests. The very first one is, I know it has just been a difficult week. I mean, nationwide, it has been a very, very difficult week. So I'm going to ask that all of you join me in a moment of silence, using our compassion skills to remember those who do not feel safe, as well as those who are in sorrow and grief for lives lost. So if you would join me in that moment of silence right now. Thank you. Thank you for joining me in that. And my second request has to do with the reason we're all here and gathered here tonight. All of us are here and are part of Helping Parents Heal because we've had a child or children who have transitioned to heaven. And we don't have to ask for them to be here. They are here. They know that you're here and they're right here with us. But I would like you to take a moment to acknowledge them and to tell them how happy you are that they are here with you tonight. They're here for you. They're here for your process. And I want to take a moment and acknowledge them, each of you, in just a moment of silence, and let them know how happy you are that they're joining us and that you're open to any messages or correspondence or communication that they send your way. So let's just take a moment to do that. Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining me in both of those things. Elizabeth has really sort of covered my history a little bit, and I don't necessarily need to say a lot more about that. I will tell you that after my son passed, I started writing journals. I have years of journals in my room, all over the place, as a matter of fact. And it was initially my form of therapy. And I'll get into the details of this a little bit more a little later, but my guardian angel about a little over a year ago sort of directed me, was pretty blunt. She knows that I'm very linear, so she just, she just comes out and says what she says. And she directed me to try channel writing. And when I say channel writing, what I mean by that is simply finding a place of quiet and peace and listening really well, and then writing down what you receive. And I have been so blessed. I have gotten so much guidance, so much inspiration. For the most part, I was hearing from angels or maybe guides, occasionally from my son Chaz. And this went on for a while. I really looked forward to it. It was a big practice that I maintained really pretty much every day. And then last fall, my team in spirit became even more directive. I had been dithering around for a long time. They had told me, first of all, you're not in charge, we're in charge, which I'm like, okay, that's good. And then they said, this is the format you're going to write in. You're going to write a journal. You're going to use this format. You're going to incorporate the miracles that you've received. And finally, your son Chaz is going to be helping you out with this. So I was like, yeah, this is good, because I had been going in all sorts of directions. So the actual first draft of this book happened in 3 to 4 weeks. And every time I had a stopping point or some difficulty or didn't understand what I was to go do next, they just said, sit and listen. And that's all I did, was I sat and I listened, and I got directed where I needed to go, or they would say, okay, and these, 43 different pages of notes you've got, this is the miracle you're going to use next, and you're going to put that in. So I received a lot of help in writing this. And very luckily, I'm so gifted to have a very competent co-leader, Tava Wilson, who is also an editor, and I knew of her editing work. So when I asked her to edit me, I was very grateful that she stepped in and was willing to do that. And when Tava edited me, it was really something that needed to be done, because sometimes when you're listening to spirit and you're hearing things, what comes through is maybe very clear to you, but it's not necessarily clear to everyone else. So I was very grateful for Tava's input on all of that. But I think I'll let Tava speak to this, but it might have been more than Tava, because about midway through, and when you're doing editing work, you send sections back and forth in the mail or whatever, and you're looking at comments and incorporating them, making changes. In the midst of all that, we had a miracle that occurred, and it involves Tava's daughter, Christina. And I have never told that story myself, because it's really Tava's to share, but it was such an important thing to have happen, because it gave me such inspiration to start going through the process that I had to go through next. Publishing is not easy. It's sort of a headache, to be honest, and I learned a lot, but having this miracle occurred really gave me some inspiration to keep moving forward. So I've asked Tava to step in and share a screen and show you some of what went on. So letting her take it away. Tava, did you unmute?
Yeah. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to do this. I'm hoping that I've got it to where you guys can understand what happened in a simple way. But it was just a huge affirmation of what Mary was doing, which had everything from the first reading, it just so resonated with me. And so an affirmation from my Christina, but it also had a bigger impact, and you'll see that at the end. So she had sent me this Word document, as she said, and I started editing it. And so one thing that day that came up was Mary said, what do we do with the longing we have to be with our children again physically? And like immediately this came into my head. We can develop our relationship with our children different from and beyond what we had with them while they breathed here on earth. And then I thought to myself, well, that's pretty darn exciting. And so as I typed, so I'm typing this editing comment in because I just thought it was such a great question and the download was great, my computer froze. So I sent Mary the message that you see below, which kind of explains that. And it was like I said, my takeaway is that I should look at this tomorrow. I think the kids don't want me to look at it now. And anyway, there's a little bit more to it, but that's about it. So then Mary, the next morning, you see at 6:30 a.m., she responds and says, so glad Christina and Chaz teamed up together again. This is just the sort of thing, freezing the computer, they would do. And so then, but what I saw on my phone was that someone at 6:30 responded, and it showed from the number 33333. So there are 13 threes. That was the number that I got, and you can see it up here. And so I clicked on it, and I saw it was Mary continuing our dialogue. So, and then I clicked on the 33333 info, and it went to this 3333 contact, which was not Mary, but yet she was texting to me. So I sent her a screenshot of this, and we were both just kind of like, oh my goodness. And then I say, well, it would seem they did it again. Instead of your name being who you are, from the look of it, says, does 3333 mean anything to you? So, and then she says it looks like a numerology thing. So this is kind of an aside. That's why it's 2.5. At one point during the incoming messages, they turned green and started saying, my messages out turned green, and this is not a working number, it started saying. So I was like, oh, great, we lost the connection. And that's why I just typed something random in. I mean, you got to just like, at this point, I'm just like totally freaking out. Like, how am I communicating with this 33333 person? And yet it's Mary. And then of course I wanted to get back in touch with Mary. So I went back to my contacts and went to Mary's contact information and clicked on the text icon. And as I say, voila, it brought me back to 13 threes. So the magic was not over. So my mind's spinning, and in the meantime, Mary had looked up the meaning of threes and got the answers you see below. So the first thing she got was, as an emoticon, it means love. And then what does that mean spiritually? It also brings a very spiritual, loving, supportive, and protective energy. It is the energy of living life with enthusiasm, for forging ahead into the realm of imagination, creativity, adventure without fear, knowing without a doubt that we are protected and loved by unseen spiritual powers. I read that and I kind of like, just like my whole body was kind of like chilling and shaking and like, wow. So this clearly was like somehow someone was trying to communicate something. So then I say I'm freaking out here because now I'm communicating, or we are, with 33333. And there's a picture associated with this 33333. And it's a picture I recognize, but I'm not sure why I recognize it. So I then want to discover who this picture right here is associated with. So first I looked at my son Nico, and it wasn't him. And then I looked at his stepmom, and it wasn't her. And for some reason, I don't know why, I thought I'd put it with her. Then I looked at Christina's dad. And sure enough, that was Christina's dad's contact card, had this picture, which is my son Nico, two of his step siblings, and his stepmom. And so at this point, like, I was just like, oh my gosh, I realized Christina wanted me to share this with her dad, who doesn't think about any of these things. And until this time, which was nearly 5 years after her transition, would literally change the subject every time her name was mentioned. And when he referred to our kids growing up, he would refer to when Nico was growing up. He wouldn't say, like if I said when Nico and Christina are growing up, he'd say when Nico was growing up. Like, yeah. And we are very close and we do things as a family, like him and his wife and their kids and whatever. So we're all super close. So I realized Christina was reaching out to Greg, her dad, in the most obvious way she could so that he would believe and know that she's still with him. So basically still today, if I go into contacts and I go to Mary's contact, and I have since then, I've added like her husband's name and I have a nickname for him, which I've added, and I've added their address and all kinds of things. But still, when I try to send her a message, it reverts to the 333333, 13 threes. So it was so clear that our guides, mine and Mary's, were confirming our working together along with our kids on this project, which so resonated me on the deepest of levels from the first time I read it. And by working together, I mean Mary and Chaz working together and Mary's guides and me not doing much other than a very simple editing, along with Christina kind of guiding me. So this is the culmination though. You see there's Mary's actual contact card. And then if I touch message here, I get, it goes to basically, and then I click on the info and it goes to this contact, which is this 333 contact with this picture. So you can imagine, like, I'm just flummoxed by this. We never have figured out what this number is, but this is Mary's phone number, her mobile number right here. And then this is Greg, my ex-husband's contact card and the picture, linking that to that. And it's just absolutely mind-blowing. I don't know if, I think experiencing it maybe is way more mind-blowing than hearing it. I'm not sure. But anyway, that is it. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen because this is not about me, but this really does link to Mary.
So Tavo, one more thing, what you came to a conclusion though on what you thought Christina was trying to do. Right?
Well, for sure she was, obviously she was saying that this project, like this is a way she could get to me that would be obvious that it came from her, but it was for sure a message for her dad that just what you said, what you quoted in that, what does 3333 mean? That the spirits of our loved ones who have passed are still with us. And so I did share that with him, and that's another whole longer story, so we won't get into that, but that it was a very clear message that it's a message that he desperately needed to hear. And so it was like very important and really poignant. Is that?
Yeah, that's it. But what can you give us just a real quickie of what he thought?
Oh, so well, the quickie is just that when I reached out and I didn't have it quite as well organized and it was really hard to explain. But anyway, he said, so he said, I've been thinking about her more lately, which was just good that he would even say that. And then he said, I kind of was led to kind of say, maybe you and Nico and I should sit down and we can like really actually talk about her. And basically for him, it would be a way for him to start processing. And he said, I'd be open to that. But then it was after, like, first of all, he had to deal with the situation and he was very physically sick and we haven't gotten together, and then COVID and whatever. But that was the first time.
That's still huge though, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's the first time he'd ever even been willing to even remotely. And Nico and I have talked about, we talk about Christina all the time. But yeah, that was the first time he had been willing, and he said, I think that might be a good idea. I'm definitely open to it. So it was huge.
Yeah, it was really huge. And I think, for me, it was further proof that they wanted this to move forward, that they're using the book, that they're using the course, they're using all of our connection to make this happen. I just think it's wonderful. I did just as an aside to this, we've asked our kids individually, not connecting with each other, but asking individually what was involved in making this happen, because it seems relatively complex to pull all this off. I mean, it's not just a single sign, it's several things happening. And we both asked individually about it, and my son told me that there was a guide involved, and then Tava got the same answer out of her daughter, Christina, that there was a guide involved in making all of this complicated.
Yeah, Christina for sure said she and Chaz could not have done this on their own. They had guides involved. Specifically, my guides were mentioned to me by Christina, but yeah.
Yeah, so this was, again, part of the proof we needed that we were on the right path and going forward. So I love the story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And it just warmed my heart then, and it just sort of was further emphasis that I wasn't just in my own mind as I was going through this process. So it meant the world to me. A little bit about the book, a little bit about the course, and then we're going to let some of the folks who have done both speak up and tell us their opinion on things. So the book is basically broken down into 3 parts. I have 3 separate weeks involved in it. Again, sort of guided to do that. It is not about meditation. A lot of people sort of refer to it as a type of meditation, and if you're practiced at meditation, it could be that you're getting into the mode of being silent and peaceful a lot quicker than you would normally, but it's really not meditation. It's really getting to a place of silence and peace and listening. And we're employing mindfulness techniques. So in the very first week, we're looking at connecting with our heart, and we're making the distinction between what we do with our mind and what we're doing with our heart, how we make decisions with our heart, how we connect and how we listen with our heart, what the process is for that connection. I'm pretty big on, as is Spirit, on saying a very brief prayer for protection when we sit down and start to do this. So the very first week is about those things, the process, and we're using mindfulness techniques to try and stay present as we're making this communication happen and set up. So that's pretty much the first week in the book. The second week, we're sort of deepening our practice and deepening our connection. We're looking at and identifying who it is that we're communicating with, which for most of us, that is communicating with our child. But it could be communicating with an angel or someone else. We're learning how to push back our thought process, how to put that on the shelf temporarily while we're in the process of doing the connection with our child. Again, we're using mindfulness techniques to do that. In the second week, we do something that our kids love a lot, and we love a lot too, and that's that we write a letter to our children. And even though they see every single word, writing that letter and letting them know again how grateful we are that they've been in our life and that they're still in our life and that we have a relationship with them means a lot. And it means a lot to them as well. So we use that letter at a couple points, sort of deepening our relationship and lengthening the time that we're spending. We do focus in the second week a lot on using joy and gratitude. And there is actually a logical reason for doing that. For one thing, my son has told me over and over, and I believe this appears in the book, that gratitude is a gateway to a lot of things. And that he says he wishes he had practiced that when he was on Earth, but he said it's just the gateway to a lot that takes place. So we know this from instructors at Arthur Findlay, that only about 45% of what Spirit sends to us, even though they're sending it to us constantly, actually gets through. Somebody hears it, a medium sees it, somebody reads it. Only 45%, and to me that's not a very high number. So we're using gratitude and joy to sort of turn up the volume, so to speak. We're using those emotions and those values to sort of open up that channel and make it as wide as we can. And that's why we focus on those things. We focus again on mindfulness techniques. In the very third week, we are just opening our awareness altogether. We're looking at deepening and lengthening our practice. We start out, we're generally only doing 10, maybe 15 minutes. And by the end of the third week, we're lengthening that into the 20 or 30-minute mark. We're lengthening the time because we're looking to feel the presence of our child. And we're using mindfulness techniques like seeing them sitting right across from us and making that connection. Again, keeping our thought process out of it. We, sort of go through those 3 weeks, and we're doing that individually. But I want to talk about the fact that we're really making such a small shift. When you're talking about mindfulness techniques, and I used to not be a fan of that word, I am now. Mindfulness techniques, listening techniques, it's not rocket science. It's not anything magic or anything in particular that we're doing. We're really looking at changing our relationship with our child. And if you look at deepening the relationship roots, so to speak, it's much like the roots of a plant. Water makes a difference and helps with the growth, but what really makes a difference is the quality of the soil. And in this situation, that's our own attitude. And I will hold myself up as a poster child of somebody who needed to do work for a long, long time on my attitude and change that around. And by that, I mean, we have to believe in this. We have to be promoting the concept of love and gratitude. We have to be eager to actually have a conversation with our child and put the practice in place that makes that happen. And that's more than just sort of being there and basking in the glow of a message sent. Those are wonderful, and I'm not putting those down. But our objective is to have a conversation, to actually have a back and forth going on, to actually have a communication taking place. And those relational roots take time to develop. They take time to grow. And a big piece of that is looking at ourselves in that process and where we are with that process. You would have thought, given my background in instructional design and teaching, you would have thought that I would have jumped to having a course to go along with this, but I know it sounds silly, but I really didn't. The reason why we had a course was because I was always of the belief that if you write something, you create something, you make an online course or whatever you do, you have to put it out there. You have to put it out there for the people who are using it. And they have to tell you, is this useful? Does it make sense? You don't get to say whether it's user friendly. The people who are using it get to tell you what works and what doesn't. So after Tava and I ended the editing process, we asked for volunteers to help us test it. And I got 11 very dedicated moms. I can't call them anything but the dream team. And the reason why I call them the dream team is because they were so eager to have this communication with their children. They were eager to do the work. They were eager to show up and to give me feedback. And I couldn't have asked for anything better. We follow a 4-session format when we do the course. And the first course we did was in January. We do a Zoom session where we just are getting to know each other. We're doing introductions. We usually have a speaker, and our very first speaker was, the awesome medium that actually Elizabeth had introduced me to at the start of things, and Karen Noe, who has written so many books, which are so good. I've read, I think, every single one of them several times. And she has a lot to say about writing, but she also had some just overwhelmingly great ideas on how to adjust your attitude when you're having a really bad day. So I really liked her honesty and her approach to us. But the real kicker in the course was the 2 sessions that we spend in practice exercise. And by that, we follow the process of what's going on in the book. We lay the framework of it, and then we take somewhere between 12 and 15 minutes and we connect with our children during that time, during that 12 or 15-minute time. And what occurred, not only in the first course, but the second course, the third course as well, really just sort of blew us away, because there were just some awesome messages. There were some awesome actual physical communications. There were some just amazing, amazing things that happened, even for the folks who didn't necessarily get a message during the practice of Zoom. Sometimes that person's child would show up in somebody else's message. So it was just awesome to see these children working together. When I first started the course, and I continue this practice, I say a prayer before each of our sessions for the connection between the parent and the child, and hope that that takes place. The very first time I did that, before I could even finish the thought, my son was like, "I'm on it, Mom." And then the second time I tried to do it, he literally showed me a picture of several of the children, including Christina, David's daughter, as well as Shannon. They were like standing there with like these clipboards, and he's like, "We're doing it, you know, we're letting all the kids know." So it's just amazing what happens during those sessions. And I think it was Kathy Westdyke in our first class who mentioned to me, she said, you know, having those group practices really sort of ramps up our ability to connect when we're doing the individual practices. So what we've been doing is holding a class, and then we've been, in the next month, we're holding 2 practice sessions to actually continue that pattern and to continue that communication, because it's just such an honor to watch it taking place. There are just so many signals that happen, and so many changes. And without further ado, I think rather than continue to babble to you, what I'd like to do is I'd like to hear from some of the folks who have read the book and taken the class. So I'm hoping that some people are willing to raise their hand and do that, and to unmute and let us know. I think that's more meaningful than hearing from me. And if you don't raise your hand, I'll call on you because I'm an old school teacher. Alicia, Kathy, can I hear from
Rhonda raised her finger, but I don't know if she knows how to unmute her. There she goes. Okay, she's unmuted. Hi, Rhonda.
Kind of grudgingly, but I do want to give Mary kudos, because it is just fantastic. I still do go into skeptical, as you know, Tava and all my good friends know. I went in knowing Mary. I've known Mary about 2 years now. So I knew that I knew anything that she put forward would be really good. But I went into it thinking, I just don't think I'm going to hear, it's not going to, yeah. Anyway, it really works. My hand will get sore sometimes because I'm just writing so much. And the real kicker for me was, you wait a few days before you go back and look what you wrote, and then you go back and you just go, oh my God, I don't even remember writing any of that. That's not, that's not my words. And now I just get very advice, I guess, from my son about what I need to do with, my life. So yeah, that long story short, it's really good. If you haven't done it, you've got to do it. And it works. And I am skeptical, but it works, and I still do it. And I'll reach out to Mary, and I'll go, God, this is what we got to do. This is amazing. So, and it's a lot of fun too, because you get to connect with the other moms, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. So.
Thank you, Rhonda. And Rhonda is one of those people, for those of you who don't know Rhonda, she always puts herself down. I wish she wouldn't do that, but she's always like, this isn't going to work. I'm not that talented. This thinking. And her son just will not let up on her. Reese will not let up on Rhonda. And he just is a force of nature. He is just amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mary. And I'm sure Tava's sitting there shaking her head going, oh my God, I can't. I mean, she knows what I'm talking about, but yes, it's fantastic. So anyway, yeah. Thank
All
you,
right.
Mary. I love you.
Thank you. Love you too. Love you and Grace. Can we hear from someone else? Kathy?
Which Kathy?
Yeah, that's right.
Go ahead,
Oh, you
Kathy.
first, Kathy, because the screen's on you, and then we'll hear from Kathy with an I.
And Shannon has had her hand raised the whole time.
All right,
ET dubs.
let's go. Who's first?
Okay, I guess I'll go. Thank you, Kathy Westdyke, for letting me go. I was so incredibly honored and privileged to be part of Mary's first class, and I was so incredibly excited for it. I had gotten into I guess I had gotten sort of out of the habit of being in really good communication with my two boys. I had been taking other courses and concentrating on something else, and I felt like my meditations when I was trying or hoping to connect with my boys had all been falling somewhat flat. So when Mary brought this up, I was like, I would have run to Wisconsin to take it from the East Coast. Because again, I agree with Rhonda with what she said is I know Mary, and I know when she puts her heart and soul into something, it is going to be fantastic. And it certainly was. And actually, I believe it was the very first time we sat in meditation to connect. And the group, like Kathy had said, just the group being together raised the vibration so much that I got two of the most profound messages from my boys, one right after the other in that very first night. And it really just kind of heightened me and brought me back to having that conversation with them that I had sort of let go of. And it was just absolutely wonderful. Absolutely incredible.
Kathy, can you tell us a little bit about the messages?
Sure. Yes. So I was immediately greeted by Connor, and he was telling me what he was doing on the other side, and he showed me that he was greeting other children, other people's loved ones that were coming, and they were at the beach. So if anybody is a beach lover, they were at the beach, and it was a total celebration. So if anybody worries about their children, I want you to know what I saw was complete joy and celebration. And there were different pockets of people talking, and those who had been there longer were sort of instructing, kind of doing an orientation. And then I had been having some reoccurrent guilt feelings over my younger son's passing, and I had actually the prior week I'd been having talks with him about needing his forgiveness. And immediately after talking to Connor, my son Aiden was by my side, and then we were alone on the beach together, walking down the beach, and we had an incredible conversation about how guilt had no place for me, that there was nothing I could have done, nothing I could have avoided, nothing I could have said that would have changed his path. And he actually stood in front of me. He stopped me on the beach and stood in front of me and told me these things. And it was just incredibly profound. And it was such a gift. It really helped me to get myself back up and moving again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's just beautiful.
Thank you, and Chaz and Tava and Christina.
All right, Kathy with an I.
Hi. So I agree. It was such an honor to be part of this class. I took the class twice because I'm a slow learner. So I was very deep in my grief. I mean, I'm only a year out now. So I was in, the first class was month 5, and the second class was month 7. So I did not know what I was doing. And the Mary's class, it literally saved me, because it trained me to focus on my son's presence and not his absence, right? To focus that he was really here. And I'll go so far as to say that this sounds so extreme, but like it transformed my life, because it just, allowed me to have a relationship myself. Like I had had medium readings, which were awesome, but like to have my own relationship at such an early stage was like just such a gift, such a gift. And my channel with Chris now is completely open, which is awesome. And you know, it was during the second class. I mean, we've all had incredible signs from our kids, but you know, I was still early in the process, and I was in the middle of the second class, and I had a workman over to my house. This is pre-COVID, and we were talking, and my dining room chandelier like went on out of like nowhere. It just went poof, and it like lit up, and I was like, wow, you know, and the worker was like, did you see that? And I was like, yeah, that was amazing. And I was scheduled, Mary talks to everybody in the class individually, and I was scheduled to talk to her that afternoon. Do you remember this, Mary? And
Yeah, I do.
and she taught me, I was just like all about like, oh my God, like the light went on. And she was like, you know, like every sign has a message with it. It's not just this. I you know, I'm still amazed by signs, but she was like, Chris is trying to tell you that he loves this communication and he's so happy about it. And that just really, you know, like he's like lit up about it. And that really resonated with me and just made me, you know, even more motivated to keep going. And a couple of mediums have told me afterwards that, you know, without me telling them what I do, like, oh, he's showing you writing at a desk in a notebook, which is what I do. And, you know, how much he loves it, and how when you don't do it, you get sad, which is spot on. Like if I miss it, you know, if I miss more than a few days, my mood kind of declines. And it's just kind of like what Rhonda said, he guides me, like he guides me in my grief and my healing. And it's this class that really opened up that channel for me. So I encourage anyone who's thinking about it to go for it, because it just made a huge difference. So thank you, Mary, and thank you, Tava, and Chaz and Christina. Thank you.
And thank you, Kathy, and thank you, Chris. You have an amazing, amazing son. You just do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who else we have? You said Shannon. Are you on here?
I'm still awake.
Yay.
Just for you, Mary, just for you. I have to get
I
up.
know, it's
Like
got to be what, 2 or 3 in the morning where you're at?
almost 3, yeah. And I have to get
Oh,
up at 6 because we're going for D-Day in Normandy. So anyway, I could not be here for you because I just owe you so much. And I just love you all so much. Thank you. Anyway, I want to say that, you know, following the workbook, there's beautiful anecdotes in there and some quotes and things. It's very inspirational, and it just, you know, it gets like, it kind of lightens it up, and the pressure's kind of off on you to try to connect. So that kind of helps. And it's cute, you know, hearing the things Chaz has said and different things. Like it's easy to follow. It's blonde proof. And it's just, it's perfect. Anyway, and I just want to say it's really inspiring, you know, if you do get the opportunity to do the 21-day doorway with Mary and the others in the group, and you'll find out that the kids are working together. Like, for example, Mary had told me, oh, guess what, you know, Christina and Chaz and Pickle, Dominic are all working together, you know, they're getting the kids ready and organized. And like, how cool is that, right? To know that your child's not alone. They're surrounded with friends and love, and what more do we want, right? And we need that too. And we're getting that with the parents and knowing our kids are there. Anyway, and like, for example, I was able to have a couple messages come through from Dominic, and I actually was able to notice a difference of a message from like a guide. Anyway, because it's hard for me to figure it out. Again, long. Anyway, and I just want to say,
Late at night, give yourself a break.
And then I know there was one time that I didn't really get anything, you know, during the class, I thought. But then that very night I got a dream visit, and Mary just kind of teaches you to just, you know, kind of chill out and just take it with the flow and what you get. And maybe sometimes, you know, if the writing isn't working for you at that time, then something else will work. And anyway, I just want to really recommend it. And yeah, just say thank you so much. Love you guys.
Thank you, Shannon. And Shannon is amazing as well. She has gotten just so many signs, particularly with lights and orbs, that are connected with her connecting with Pickle. And it's just wonderful to see. She loves her mom so very much. Thank you. Anybody else? Anyone else want to tell us about their experience?
Mary,
Yay.
I'll speak.
Good. I see the
Okay.
light around you.
Yeah, I had to move around. The light has been crazy. So Jordan's been turning off the light above. I have like two spotlights. She tends to turn off the spotlight. She's turned it off and on like multiple times since the meeting started. And she told me in my ear, like an hour before the meeting, she's like, "Mom, read my letter." I was like, "What?" Okay. I was like, I don't even know where it is. I went and grabbed a journal and I literally opened it up to her letter. I've been in that journal for, I don't know, 3 weeks now. I opened it up to the letter I was supposed to read. So this was a letter Jordan is my daughter in spirit, and she passed the veil 9 months ago. I started writing with her just a couple sentences, maybe in December. It wasn't really happening very well. I wasn't really ready. And I kept talking to Kathy, and Kathy Westdyke was telling me how she was taking Mary's class, and it was amazing. And she was writing and she was journaling. And at the point where I was healed enough, where I was open enough to try anything, I was like, you know, I think I'm ready to try this again. So we got into Mary's class, and Jordan just like flowed through so easily. And it's such a safe place in the class. Jordan I write with her every day now. Like every day we journal write. And she just absolutely loves Mary. And she's always nudging me to send other moms her way, because that is really a huge way of a huge reason for my healing, is that I'm connecting so powerfully with Jordan. So anyway, that's just a little bit of my story, but I want to read the letter really quickly.
Sure.
So as the meeting was going, I just kind of wrote to her, just kind of wrote on a paper saying, you know, "Jordan, are all the kids here?" And she says, her response was, "All the kids are here, Mom. They are all so happy. All the moms are together. The kids are holding hands. They're sending love and healing down to each and every mom. We are holding hands, thinking of each mom and sending white light and energy down to each and every mom. The energy we send helps to heal their hearts. This healing is really important, Mom. Each mother here will heal. Each mom here will connect with their child, Mom. Yes, of course. Please share this, Mom," because I was asking her if I should share it. "This is meant to be shared, Mom. We love all of our moms so much. We want them to know that we are always with them. We will never leave them. Tell them this is so important. We are always with them. We love our parents so much. We want to connect with our moms, to have conversations with them. We are all together, us kids, helping you moms to all heal. Work hard, write with us, work hard at Mary's book, connect with us. We love you. She's a long writer. Yes, tell them we think they are so very strong. We think they are amazing. We are so proud of all of you. You are courageous and amazing mothers. You are never to feel guilty. You are never to feel you are less than. You are very loved. Each of the moms are so very loved. Tell them all of this. We love from all of us kids from beyond the veil. The veil is thin. You're able to reach us. And we are waiting to connect with you all even more. So I thought that was just really beautiful. I just thought it was an amazing message.
It is. And the fact that she directed you right to the letter. Yeah. They love it, don't they? They love it. Right.
They do. She's just spoken in different and a few of her different Marys, a few different sessions. Jordan has talked about how important the energy is in the group, that when the kids are together, such as like tonight, our kids are all together up there, like holding hands. They are with us, and she talks about that energy is super important. And when they're together, it combines and it builds, and they send really, really important healing down to their own moms. And Jordan wanted to like get that message across. Like they're always with us, and they want us to work really hard to connect because they love to connect with us. Like they love, love, love it. And we're never taking them away from anything. It is never that. They love, love, love to connect with us. They're kind of like Jordan's like my guide now. Like she's just like my best teacher now. And she loves Mary. So anyway, that's all.
I absolutely love her. I mean, and you bring up an important point. And, you know, it's sort of like when our kids get together, they're sort of like rock stars, you know, they really are, you know, because I had someone who was a medium tell me long ago that, you know, I was helping out at a session, and, you know, she brought up something, no one would take ownership of it. And suddenly these three ladies in the back row were like texting and all that. And it turned out it was a father of somebody who they worked with who wasn't even there. And she said, think about it. Think about, you know, this dad's been knocking at the door. He can see people inside the house, and he has not had an opportunity to get through for how many years. This was his only opportunity. Whereas our kids are getting together with us constantly. And when we write to them, they are just, you know, they just absolutely love it. They know that we're sending them love, and they are sending us love. That's such an important message. Thank you so much for sharing that. Brings tears to my eyes each time you do that.
Well, Jordan definitely led me to your class, and to Kathy and Carrie, and to you. And so she's definitely, I just kind of follow her lead now. And and angels that I, you know, that I call in. So, but she loves you.
I love her. She has brought so many people to us. She is just amazing. Love her so much. Love you too.
Can I break in here and just say one thing? One of the reasons that I wanted you to speak tonight is because at these group meetings, like the one in Cave Creek, we've had really, really parents who are really, really early on in their journey who are just doing fabulous. And I'm so impressed. And they tell us, oh yeah, we've been doing Mary Bertun's course, and I can tell that this is just making such a huge difference in these moms' lives to be able to figure out a way to communicate so easily with their kids that doesn't involve meditation, as you say, because meditation is sometimes really hard to do when we have our monkey minds, and doesn't involve necessarily yoga where you have to sit down and practice. All you have to do is be able to write. So thank you for sharing, all you beautiful ladies, about your experience with this. I want to also ask, because everybody's saying this in the chat box, I know you're going to tell everybody, are you doing a course anytime soon, Mary?
Yes, I am. I'm going to schedule 2 practices in the month of June. I have to get my act together and send that out. So I'm going to schedule 2 practices in the month of June, but I will do a class in July. Right now, I just have 3 people who are interested so far. Hopefully after tonight, I'll have a few more. We have
I think you have a lot. I think there are a lot of people who would like to do this.
We do have some people who, some people are overseas, some people have things going on at night. So I've been asked to give an option to do something that's sort of more midday. So I think we might do that at least with our practice sessions and see how it goes, because again, we have people like, bless her heart, Shannon, so it's like, it's like 2 or 3 in the morning where she's at. So, and we have somebody in England who Candace had brought to us, and she really wants to be part of the class, but it's the time difference makes it tough for her. So we're probably going to do something midday, and we may even do that with the class. I don't know. But yeah, we've been sort of continuing on practices for this month, and then a class in the month of July, which we do 1 each week. We do a meeting, we do 4 Zoom sessions, we do 1 each week. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because as you said, pointed out, Elizabeth, I'm embarrassed to say, I'm now, I'm 8 years down the road, and it's, I look at people here in this group. I look at Candace, I look at Kathy Westdyke, I look at some of these moms who, are so far ahead. They are so far ahead of where I was at the same point in the grief process, so much further than I am. And it has to do, they're giving credit to their children, which they absolutely should, but the credit goes to them as well, because they are really, they have the right, attitude about this, and they are so invested in talking to their children, and it's happening.
But I also love the fact that it sounds like it's a lot easier than other methods that parents use to connect with their children, because obviously Candace and Rhonda and Shannon are all talking about the fact that they really didn't think they could do this, and that it actually came very naturally, which is absolutely wonderful. And I'm so excited that you have written this book to be able to help others, because this is kind of like the missing link that a lot of people need to be able to get on it and start communicating with their kids. Not that I want to break in here and just tell everybody that they love communicating with us, but they also are okay if they're not, because they're having so much fun where they are. So don't get panicked if you don't get on this course right away, or if this course isn't maybe exactly what you want to do, because they are 100% good. But at the same time, how exciting for us to be able to communicate with them. So
yeah,
this is really wonderful. Let's see, everybody's asking for your website. Do you have a website?
No, not anymore. I am, because of my background, I have started up learning management systems for years for organizations. So I am looking at trying to translate this. I don't know if it'll happen by July or not, into a learning management system that will have a site. So I'm looking into that, because I'm so afraid I'm going to start losing emails or messages and not get it right. So I will be doing that. Our affiliate is the Helping Parents Heal Madison, Wisconsin. My email, and I think Tava's been putting it in the chat a couple times, is mberton@gmail.com. You can reach me through that. I know Claudia had said in chat that she wanted to talk to. Claudia is one of our folks from Canada. So I wanted to let her talk for just a minute. She's also a newer mom, I think, new to this grief journey.
Hi everyone. I just wanted to add how grateful I am that I met Mary. And before meeting Mary, I'm grateful to let you know that Jordan, Candace's daughter, made the connection with my daughter Emma. They actually connected us. So first I knew Candace, and she introduced me to this course, and to Mary, of course. And it looked not suspicious, is not the right word. You please help me with the English here. I don't know how to say, but I said to Candice, this looked kind of weird to me. How can you? I do get lots of signs from Emma since she passed away. Now there are 14 months, 2 days. On 7th of June will be 14 months since she passed away. And Emma passed away of cancer, and she had good time to talk about life and death, and she promised me that she's gonna send me signs and I will know that it's her. So right from the beginning, I was very intuitive. I believe this is what is the word, and I get lots of signs from her. But to get to connect with her through writing, it seems to me like, wow, this is too much. No, I'm not gonna do this. Like, it's not, I mean, I want to, but I don't think it's possible. And Candice said, you should try, like, just give it a try. And I said, okay, I'll try. I'll come like a spectator there, and I will look and I will listen, but I don't think so. And I tried, right? I got involved, and then I didn't know what I should expect. I didn't know if I should see something, if I should hear her voice, what should happen. Like, but you know what? I just said, I have to admit that at one point before the class, I said, what if what if I will hear something bad, like a bad message, like, and it will scare me. But then once in the class, you feel the great vibes, you feel the great energy that surrounds you, and uh, it's pure love. It's just pure love. Nothing bad could happen. So I was waiting in that meditation to hear something or to see something. I honestly only saw purple from the beginning to the end, and green, and it didn't pop any message to my mind. And I said, okay, even if it pops something, how should I know it's not my mind saying this and it's Emma telling me something? It's very confusing. How should I know? And sure enough, not from the first class. The first class, I only managed to write a heart. To draw a heart at the end of the class. And I told Mary, I didn't get any word, but I only got to draw a heart and write in the middle of it, I love you, which I don't know. It's a heart that I draw for Emma or she did for me. I don't know. But the fact that I've seen purple from the beginning to the end, they told me, Mary and Tava, which are, they are doing this for a longer time, right? They trusted that it's Emma sending me this message. Emma used to find hearts maybe half a year before she passed away in any form. If she would stain herself with water or a soup, it would take a heart shape. If she would cry on the pillow, the stain would be a heart shape. When she would walk on the pavement, a paddle would be in a heart shape. And then now we find lots of hearts. You probably do too, but I know this is from Emma all the time. So that's why that sign and everybody said is from Emma. Now the second session, it was very, very powerful to me because I see images. Other people experience words put into their head, like they explain. You don't necessarily hear the voice of your child. As someone in this meeting would ask, okay, but how does this work? You're gonna hear your child talking to you? Or it's just a thought. You might, I mean, I wish, it's just the thought put into your mind, and you know that it's not yours because, well, you think, okay, what am I cooking next? I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. You know your thoughts, you know your trace of thoughts, but that comes that thought comes that is not yours, and you know this is something that is not, it's from somebody else. And because you talk to your child before and you write a letter and you open this door, you know that it's from your child. It was a Wednesday after Mother's Day, and I didn't think of Mother's Day. The Mother's Day passed, but that Wednesday we had the class. And what I've seen, the picture that I've seen in my meditation was these kids are holding hands together. They are in the circle, but not in a circle. The circle was actually a heart shape of them. You know what I mean? I have to show you like this. And the circle would move like this, but in a heart shape. And they would say, we are all here holding hands, saying Happy Mother's Day to all of you. And I knew that is not me. I didn't think of Mother's Day. I was just meditating to see what comes up. And that was very powerful to me. I got other messages too afterwards, but I don't want to stay longer but I'm happy to share, and I'm very grateful. I'm jealous that I didn't participate in the first class I didn't know about, and for sure I will do it again.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, Mary.
And Claudia brings up an important point. We always keep our classes and our practice sessions open to people who have been through class. Even some of the practice sessions, they don't necessarily have to be through class. So, it's everybody can participate. Where our group fluxes, so you don't have to retake the class, but you're welcome to join in any of our sessions. You truly are.
Thank you so much. I don't know if there was anyone else who wanted to share, but this has been absolutely perfect. And I think that everybody on here wants to take your next course. So I hope you're ready.
We're ready. We're ready.
Is there a limit of the number of people that you have in this, in the course?
I've learned to try and keep it somewhat small, somewhere between 10 to 12 people. We probably had far more than that, maybe up to 15 in our last class, but it's sort of important for us to keep it that size, but I don't mind doing multiples. In other words, if I do one during the day, I can just turn around and do one at night. It's really not a problem for me. So, I think if we have the interest, we will accommodate that, because what we get back is so beautiful and is so powerful. I can't imagine not doing it. So yeah, we try to keep the classes to a certain size, but if people want to do it as groups within their affiliate or whatever, we'll be glad to do that too. So we'll make that happen.
Well, thank you. That's absolutely wonderful. Irene, did you have anything to say before we sign off?
No, it sounds great. I'm looking forward to joining in sometime. Mary, thank you. Thank you so much for what you're doing. It's just incredible. It really is.
Well, and I'm really excited that we've recorded this so that other people can hear about this as well. But you guys who are on here might be able to be the first people, besides everyone else who's been in the first two courses, to participate, which is very exciting. So anyway, thank you. Thank you so much for reaching out to all of these kids and allowing them to communicate with their parents. And I know that they're so grateful to for what you're doing. Thank you, Teva, as well, for editing the book and for being such a huge support to Mary and to Chaz. And I just feel grateful mostly to our kids, but of course to you guys. I mean, the kids are just amazing. They really are. If it's not going to work one way, it'll come in another way. They're going to figure out a way to get to us.
They will. Yes, they will.
And I just want to say very quickly, it's really funny because there's a mom named Chris Anderson in Anderton, who's in the UK, who keeps having dreams about Morgan and her son. And the first dream that came to her was of them cheerleading together, and Morgan was on top of her son, who's smaller than Morgan's shoulders, and she didn't know that Morgan was a cheerleader. but they had this fake huge ear on one ear, and then they had a key in one hand, and they were saying that listening is the key, and they were saying that they're trying to communicate with us as hard as they can. And I know that they are. Oh my gosh, I know that these kids just are being so innovative and trying every method possible to get in touch with us. So I appreciate you being one of those incredible ways, and obviously not just with the writing, but with all of the other signs that people are getting through electricity, through color with Claudia, through everything else. So
Themes, yeah, too. Yeah, it's
thank
amazing.
you.
It is an
And,
honor to be doing this. It's an honor. That's all.
well, I'm sure you must just feel great, because I'm sure the kids are making you feel incredibly great. It must just be wonderful.
My son is just awesome. He just sends me so much love, and he's so much help. I can't imagine doing this without him just running the show on the other side, along with all the other kids. So yeah.
Well, and they're just learning so much. They're learning at the same time that we are. They want to communicate with us just as much as we want to communicate with them. But again, if you are starting out on this journey and you're just way too deep in grief to be able to handle it, don't worry. They're still doing great. They are still in great hands, and they're having so much fun together. But when you are ready to start communicating with them, they're also ready to do that. So
yes, they are.
The faster you can communicate, the faster you're going to feel great too, right? I mean, all of us are going to feel great. But thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Let's all unmute and say thank you to everyone, if that's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful
Great meeting.
weekend.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.